Sam Harris insists Mamdani is not to be trusted. Mamdani is an Islamist, he says. So I looked up Islamism, and it is not what I thought. I thought it would be the mission to a worldwide caliphate. It is not. It's theocratic. The mission to administrate in already Muslim countries by Sharia law. Yuck. I agree with Sam. Not as bad as I thought, but I'd leave any country if it became any kind of theocracy. Christian to Hindu, because I would then be among people with whom I shared little. Offering me a corner or a vast cathedral to pray in, should the theocracy allow it, would make no difference. I don't pray. I don't have a God that resembles Allah, with whom you might make an uneasy truce, waiting to break down at the appropriate insult. The theocracy is not capable of democracy, which is the system I revere and would prefer, even though I don't live in one. I'd ask Sam, since he is an expert, what is the difference between Islamism and, say, Zionism, except the word and the name of the presiding deity. They all have their versions of Sharia. They have their separate names, their ways of controlling, denigrating, and clothing women, of educating and indoctrinating children. They are patriarchal. What a bore, just not at all for me. But is Zoran an Islamist, sneaking therefore? Did he take in all those voters? Does Sam know something we don't? Are the rest of us that gullible while Sam knows best? Is he omniscient? Or is he just a fabulously well-paid conspiracy theorist? Not a religious one, except he uses that nerve, that conspiratorial nerve, that religious nerve, to lead our thoughts. Does he think Zoran goes out late at night to mix henbane and eye of newt with other Islamists plotting to flood the water supply with hashish, like the old hashishin? Yes, that is the root word. I would agree with Sam were he to impugn Zoran was plotting against Catholics or Jews for plotting against him. That would be historical. They did it all the time. Forgive us our trespasses kind of stuff. But he has a special hatred, Sam does, for Islam. Where I am an equal opportunity distruster, he has a special hard-on for Islam. He's famous for it. And I'm not the mightiest fan of Mamdani. I find the language slippery. He's better at it than, say, Gillibrand, but being slipperier is no recommend. New Yorkers can tone down to human beings one day, perhaps, hopefully. But insofar as Islam permeates, I'd only point out that Muslims, from Malcolm X to Nasser, are very persuasive politically. Malcolm being one of the absolute best. So there may be something there, a discipline that makes for good leaders, maybe even good socialists. Maybe that's why they're so feared. Is that it is what the right-wingers say, isn't it? Clarence Thomas, no doubt. And I find I have a knowledge, a talent for acknowledging someone is persuasive without being persuaded. It's a small talent, but there it is. The truth is, my truest thing to say about what I feel is that Islam may be a good training ground for students of persuasion. There may be teachings in effective rhetoric. They might one day be as great as T.D. Jakes, the greatest of them all, or Jesse Jackson, the next greatest, both black Bible men, or Malcolm or Dr. King, all men of God, probably most infuriating to Sam, poor Sam, or better in my ear than Mamdani. But if he gets the rent frozen and the bus is free, I will forgive his twee language and give the credit where it is truly due to his blessed New Yorkers. People who appear on television and get microphones thrust in face to opine away are fond of leadership narratives. Look at me. Kind of obvious why. They are like the Democratic Party. It is far better to win than to get anything done. Then one becomes the greatest of all. Your own judgment without affiliation. From what I gather, Islamist, Zionist, and Papist are all one. And if Sam is honest and intelligent, he'd know this and might even say it. But I will not hold my breath. To put a thing to rest, someone described the creation of a state as a laudable, sympathetic, and a natural outcome of hundreds and even thousands of years of persecution of the people of that new state, their need of refuge and a home. I think that is fair. I agree entirely on why, not how. It sounds like the reasoning of the Puritans, a deep part of the American European creation myth. They said they were persecuted by the theocracies they lived among in England and Holland, which is understandable. They were horribly persecutive. There was no room, no tolerance for their form of theocracy, and they heard a voice from there above, I guess, that their promised land was New England, and off they went. They then got to persecute the inhabitants who already lived there. It's a cycle. Warring theocracies. The narrative is that that we each belong to one or the other, where I belong to none of them. I don't oppose you as another version of you. In both cases, there might have been another way, except both books said the land that other people lived on was promised to the invaders by right, by law, by God. Even without a fight, as the idiot Schumer said, they don't believe in Torah. Oh, darn it. Was there ever the chance that Puritan or Zionist might have shown up and said, please, let's talk about it. What do you think? Nope. As yesterday, the defenders, decorators, and glorifiers of Europe make much of the rule of law, that Western civilization is to be specifically commended for the rule of law. Why? You are people of the book of laws, yes? And those of another book just don't cut it? For those 1,000-odd years, the Christian made laws to persecute the Jew. They criminalized them, makers of other laws. On some level, one does think you are welcome to each other. A plague on both of you. To frame the human and their participations in civilization as an outcome of laws, because you find humans are naturally criminal, then create slaveries, aristocracies, inequalities, ownerships, injustices, and statuses that will likely put some of you in the dock, is blatant self-fulfillment. It's your creed. You need commandments to stay straight. Torahs, that is your thing. And seeing from outside, staying straight is indeed staying narrow, the narrowness applying specifically to the lower orders, women and foreigners. You lawyers have made the whole societies out of judging others, and I mean real others. We have only glimpses of how tribal Africans dealt with those who strayed, and interesting glimpses they are, and then we shut our eyes. How there was no history of sexual abuse or rape among the Bushmen until they were put on reservations. So, admit you need your Torahs where some people don't. Then make the case in-house that this stricture makes you lot a better lot. This is the civilizational difference. One assumes and presumes we are fundamentally criminal, and another does not. When you get to 10,000 years of continuousness, we can decide whether you or the Bushmen are right. And it is entirely a plague on all three of your houses. I specify no one.